Good morning, everyone. This is a video that I've been wanting to do for a really long time. I haven't really had the courage to yet, but it's because it involves a lot. It's quite a broad subject. So now I'm not going to go against anything that a doctor, well, I might. We'll see. I might. So perimenopause. I've been suffering with this for the last 2 years, 3 years maybe. I don't know. I haven't kept track. Basically, yeah, I think 2 years. Anyways, my periods start disappearing and I get hot flashes like every 3 minutes. At some point it was so bad I wasn't able to sleep. I was sleeping with towels. It's not fun. So, and then of course there was the weight gain. So like I gained weight like in my belly where I'd never really had that issue before. Even like when I lose weight, it doesn't go away. So I just noticed like a lot of little, small differences like that in my body. It's nothing like major, but the big thing for me was, well, two things. The biggest day-to-day thing was the hot flashes. So it was super disturbing. I couldn't get anything done. I can't really function with the hot flashes. Even like my daughter, like hugging her or, being close to her, I'll be like, okay, get away. My husband too, of course. It's a huge disturbance in your life when that happens. And it's super embarrassing too. I think I was still working when I started going through that. I was still working. So, it can be really embarrassing. You're out in public, all of a sudden you're breaking out in a sweat. And sometimes it can be more extreme than other times. Sometimes it can be more intense than other times. So I had the hot flashes. My period was gone. That wasn't such a bad thing. I'd say like I at least had the positive side. No periods. And then when I did have one, it was very light because no more endometriosis. So the last time I did get a checkup, the doctor told me, oh, wow, great. And this was just a little bit before I started having all the symptoms. She said, oh, great, you have no more fibroids. It looks like there's no endometriosis. Looks like everything's great. It looks great. And at the time I told her that I wanted to go back to the clinic and start infertility treatment again. And so she, wished me luck and sent me on my way. And I thought everything was fine until we started doing the treatments. And that's when, for some reason, I was never responding to to all the injections, to all the hormones. Eventually, I think the second time and the third time, they did do the AMH testing, the hormone testing, and plus the AMH, and told me that my ovarian reserve was super low. Okay, so long story short, they send me home, tell me, yeah, it's premenopause. I go home, have, a sad day and all of that. Chances of having kids are really low, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Now I'm going to talk to you about my approach to all of this. There's a lot to say. Now, what I think is that doctors don't have the last word when it comes to my health. I don't care what the situation is. They don't have the last word. God has a last word. And so I look at what he says to me. What did he say in his word about my health? What did he say in his word about fertility, of course, as well? I'm going to keep it more on the health, but my own journey, of course, right now is about premenopause. Now, premenopause, just before I run into it, premenopause is supposed to be, it is and is supposed to be the natural cycle of a woman's life. So at some point when you're older, you start, losing your egg reserve, you have less eggs available, so forth. And then you go into menopause and then you don't have any more periods anymore. You're no longer a fertile woman. You're no longer planning, you're not having any more kids at some point, right? Okay, fine. Problem I have with this is that while my symptoms and everything that happens to me might be something that naturally happens later on in life, I do not believe that it's something that had to happen to me now. Now, the reason it happened to me now was partly surgery and all the hormones. And I might blame a little bit, I might, have my suspicions about using birth control for so many years. So a lot of damage, a lot of, hormones all over the place, obviously. I'm not going to get all specific about what happens in the body and exactly how it happens, but we know when we're not well, right? We know when things are not as they should be. Throughout my years of learning about food and the body, I've tried all kinds of diets. I've tried vegan, I've tried raw, I've done keto, I've done carnivore, I've done all kinds of diets. And I have to say that most of the time I felt better, because I think that the main point about most of these diets is the fact that you take a lot of the processed foods away, right? Like that for a start, that's already that's a huge plus for your body, right? And then on the other hand, a lot of what you end up doing is reducing a lot of the sugars, right? Now, at some point, I realized that I do really, really well with keto. So the first time I went on a diet because of my premenopause was my last round of IVF. When I tried to do my last round of IVF, I did it, maybe it was just a few weeks, maybe a month. Started doing it, definitely felt better. Hot flashes did go away, did get a period back, went to do IVF, but I still had no response to the injections. Fine. Interrupted my diet, hot flashes came back again, blah, blah, blah. Okay. All of that happened. Then I did a second, I jumped back into keto a second time, and this time I did it for almost 3 months. I was getting into 3 months. Again, hot flashes went down, my period came back, I had 2 periods in a row, and then I interrupted again. Fast forward, third time, this is my third time. So I think that a lot of times people will tend to get discouraged, especially when it comes to, the whole diet. Don't do a diet because they don't work, and then you'll just fail, like you'll just fall off of it. Yes, we do. I know I do. I'm not perfect. I'm always figuring it out. But the point is exactly that. I'm figuring it out. I'm trying to figure it out. I found out that I do really well also on carnivore, but I think I kind of go back and forth between them. Fine. I'm not giving any medical advice here. I'm not suggesting any diet to anybody. Actually, please don't. Please don't jump into keto. Please don't jump into doing carnivore unless you studied it quite a lot and, disclaimer, you should talk to your doctor kind of thing. But for sure, when I started, I felt so much better right away. So I think, 10, 15 days in, hot flashes are gone and so forth. It doesn't take very long anyways for my body to start responding when I do keto. So this last round, I'm going to talk about that just a second. This last round, jumping back into keto, is when I actually just went back to reading my Bible and understanding what God says about my health. And it's also when my real purpose in life kind of revealed itself after going through all of that. Anyway, it's a little bit different this time because my focus is very different. My focus before was, get rid of hot flashes, I guess, have a baby. That was all I thought about. That was my main goal in life. At this point, that is not my main goal in life, as much as I would love that to happen. But my main goal in life is that I know what I want to do with my life. I know that I want to get into nutrition. That's what I'm going to be studying. I know that I want to help other people. And at some point when I knew exactly the road, like what I wanted to do, I want to do this and this and this. We'll get into all of that sometime. The hot flashes were taking over. I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't focus on the things I was doing. I was super motivated to do them. But, especially when you're creating and writing, I was writing a lot. So especially when you're in that headspace of creating, it's really hard to be disturbed so often. And I was being interrupted by a hot flash every 3 minutes. And actually the night I started, that was it. That was the reason. I prayed to God. I said, please help me out. I don't know how to get on board with this diet that I know would help me, that I know would help me to think better, to work better. And I need that. And not only do I need that, but I need to show other people what I'm going through and how I can overcome that. I need to also be the example, right? I cannot just preach something that I'm not doing. So I asked God to help me out. And oh my goodness, the day after, 2 days after, within the next 3 days, the next 3 days following, my hot flashes got so intense that one evening when I was trying to write, I was like, I'm done. I'm just done. I'm done with this. I'm starting because I couldn't take it anymore. So yeah, I just suffered so much that I couldn't do it anymore. So I started my diet, and a few days in, yes, I got definitely better. The hot flashes started going back down. Anyone going through that diet can definitely change the hot flashes. It's definitely not probably, it might not be the same for everybody, but I wouldn't sit down, give up, and accept it. There's a lot of resources out there that can help you in that. I will eventually talk about nutrition and get more specific on that, but for the time being, at least while I haven't started studying, I will be focusing in more on the spiritual aspect of health, because I do believe that health is not just about food. It's about, it has to be body, mind, and soul, right? You can't separate it. So health has to do with all of that. But in the meantime, I do want to sort of, document what I go through for anyone out there who might be interested. I do think that this approach can apply to any sort of disease that you might have, but mine in particular is premenopause, and I think that the first step is not accepting it. I don't think you need to. I mean, it makes me really upset when I see people who are suffering and they have accepted the suffering as just a part of their life. I don't believe that's God's plan for us. I do think that there's a way out of it. I think there are people who can help you if you look for them. I think that if you pray for God to help you find the right path, He will help you. Now, especially if that disease is hindering you from moving forward with things that you want to move forward with, or keeping you from some of the things that you desire in life. Now, at this point in time, I had a really great month. My period came back. It was I was really happy. It was almost exactly the amount of days it took me the other 2 times to get my period after starting the diet. So it really makes me think that I might be right. It really makes me think that I might be right, if you know what I mean. They tell me, well, there's no reversing premenopause. Yeah, I understand, premenopause is the thing that happens before menopause, and we're all kind of in premenopause. I understand all of that. That's not, I'm talking about how right now my body is not doing what it's supposed to be doing, considering that I am only 40 years old. And the fact that changing how I eat brings my period on so quickly and my hot flashes will go away makes me think that, well, let's see what happens if I can do this for 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. And let's see what happens. Does my period come back regularly? And if it does, maybe there's more to it than what we've always thought, right? As far as, egg count. And I think that even though I might have 0, like let's say doctors are right, okay, there's no more eggs and that's the way it is. There's no going back. Fine. I can at least not be suffering with the hot flashes all the time. And I don't know, do I have a period if I have no egg count? I don't know. Whatever. I'll have a period. I'll have a regular period and no hot flashes. And I will be perfectly happy. And if God wants to bless me with a child, then that would be great. But in the meantime, like my main focus is on feeling good, feeling healthy, not suffering with the hot flashes all the time, and getting my body to be as healthy as it possibly can. And then also I'm just curious, like I'm curious to push the limits and see how far can my body go. And I'm going to be honest with you, like I kind of hold it back, but I think doctors are wrong sometimes. I think they're just wrong sometimes. When it comes to most diseases, I think we don't realize that God has all the answers for us. And he's just waiting for us to ask him. And we so separate that, the physical and the spiritual and what God says in his word, from the reality of our lives. The spiritual aspect is the reality of our lives. I'm seeing this thing. I'm seeing it that, especially as Christians, are we healthier than the rest of the world out there, being examples of God's health to people? No, we're not. We're not doing that at all. I feel like as Christians, we haven't understood that when God said he would heal us, he really actually meant that. He didn't mean, just spiritually. And I think that we tend to, when we don't know how to reach something, we tend to spiritualize it. Like it becomes like this magic thing, right? And we hope and pray for like the magic Jesus, like he will come and then like you don't have to do anything and he will just come and fix it all for you. And I don't agree with that. I think that God gave us a lot of guidelines in the word for our health. He talks a lot about a lot of things when it comes to our health. And as Christians, we haven't really listened to it because we just like our food too much. And it hasn't been an important thing. I mean, at least in my experience, I'm going to say, growing up, listening to a lot of different preaching and, going to churches and all kinds of things, it hasn't been an important subject that I've heard talked a lot about. I've heard, when Christians were talking about healing, at least how I grew up, when we talked about healing, we're talking about, miraculous healings, things that have, let's be honest, been hard to prove or so rare. And I'm not going to talk about that. That's not my, it's not my sector. Maybe it will be at some point. I don't know. But I'm going to talk about what I think God ordains us to do. He wants us to take care of our bodies, and he gives a lot of guidelines on how to do that and the healing that comes with that. Now, what I think is that he gave us healing already. So it's our healing. Our body heals. So you cut yourself, your body, it heals, it fixes itself. And I'm like, yeah, I don't understand. Like if you're going to, if you're going to take a knife and keep doing this, you're going to bleed. You're going to keep bleeding. But stop doing that. It's not good for you, right? So there's so many things that we do to our bodies. It's not working. There are so many things that we should be doing or should not be doing. that are causing us to be sick. And especially in this world today, it's hard. I understand. It's very hard. But I think that the starting point to getting healthy is not accepting all your small and big symptoms and discomforts and diseases, right? So for me, I think I'm in complete inacceptance when it comes to any type of symptoms I might have or any type of discomfort or anything. No, I refuse it. I refuse it. I will do everything in my power to be healthy, and I will continue reading God's word to find out what he says about health and what I'm supposed to do and what he promises. So I really focus in on the things that disturb me. So I've really begun to pay attention to all the things that even physical things like my nails, for example. I mean, usually because I also enjoy beauty and all of that. But when you have a skin problem, a nails problem, a feet problem, whatever it might be, there's usually it's a health thing. So it's a small symptom of health, and they're usually the first signs. So you might notice your hair, or you might notice, I don't know, your skin. You might notice those little things starting to fall apart before you start having more serious symptoms. Maybe not always, but sometimes. And I think those are the things that we need to pay attention to, because you might do your blood test and everything's great, but like my nails keep separating. And you know what I'm saying? I don't know if that's been clear, right? There's going to be something. Anyway, I'm going to move on. So the first step to healing is to not accept whatever disease or symptom you might have. You don't have to accept that. And then secondly, tell yourself the truth about those things. I mean, those things kind of come hand in hand. Tell yourself the truth about these things that are bothering you. Tell yourself the truth about the things that you're doing, that you're doing, that you're not supposed to be doing. So being healthy is God's plan for your life. You might not know the path to health just yet. And I don't care what it is, okay? We know in the Bible it says that nothing is too difficult for him. So his plan for your life is health. His plan for your life is healing, and he put that in your body already. Now, there are things that we need to do or stop doing in order to attain that. And whenever we are not enough, where you're not enough, then he's enough. He's there. So in my own journey of reversing premenopause, I'm going to be documenting what happens to me, what I'm doing, and what progress I might have, frustrations I might have. And I think this is going to be over the next 2 or 3 months. I'm already about 2 weeks in, 2 weeks in, maybe 3 now. I've had my first period, and I want to get my older results to share with you, and I will eventually be getting newer blood tests after the 3 or 4 month mark. I want to at least have 3 consecutive periods. Now I understand that this is YouTube and you don't know me, so it's you don't know that I'm telling you the truth, kind of thing. I mean, I could fine. It is what it is. But I want to encourage people out there who have, dis-ease, that doctors have not given any hope. I want to give you some hope. I know that often doctors like to warn against hope, right? They like to tell you, no, it is this is it. No, I'm sorry. Don't believe anybody that tells you otherwise. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to say, believe God, trust God. We don't know how much our bodies are capable of doing if we remember to tap into the spiritual side of things and have what our body's doing be a manifestation of the spirit. So see, I think we forget that our bodies, the whole, creation, the whole world, everything is a manifestation of the spirit, right? It's not the other way around. So we think like, oh, this is reality, but it's not. See, this without God's breath is just a body, a dead body. It's God is the giver of life, and He is the healer. So I want to just put this out here to encourage you that the first thing is you don't have to accept it. I know it can be scary to decide not to accept sickness or disease, but you can decide to not accept sickness and disease. You can decide not to, and you can tell yourself the truth about the things that you're doing to your body that are not working for you. And pray to God to show you the path, because it's not easy, but it's worth it. God has a lot in store for you, a lot of things for you to do. Like I said, I will get into all the interesting nutrition facts, but for now, I hope this message begins to wake your spirit. Most of all, I want to speak to the body of Christ. It's time to start waking up. It's time for us to be the example of the beauty of God, the glory of God, and the health He has for us. It's time for us to stop laughing about it. It's not funny. I know we all laugh about how I had those cookies, and like I love, like my junk food, and ha ha ha, like my big belly. I'm like, it's not funny. It's really not funny. It is the first temptation, right, that the devil uses. I want to give hope to somebody who might be suffering from whatever it may be. It might be the same thing, might be something different, but don't accept your disease. Don't accept your symptoms, your discomforts. Those are signs of your body asking for help in some way. And pray, as I always say, I know. Pray that God show you the right path. We underestimate prayer so much, I think. But when we don't know what to do, we can ask Him to show us the right way. And God's been showing me the right path for me, and it's like not all revealed all the time, right? They're revealed in steps. I can't see exactly all the steps. I can see where I'm going. I have the in a way, I have the ultimate goal, but I can't always tell. I can't always tell what my next step is going to be. Sometimes I take a step in faith and expect that He'll reveal the next one after that. So I think that's important too. My biggest motivation is to encourage somebody. and curiosity. I want to see what's possible when we treat our bodies the way God intended and do the things that God intended us to do with them. If you're following God's word, He does instruct us on how to be with each other and in the world. So we should be the examples of that, God's glory, God's beauty, and, showing what true health is. Because true health is not, taking a pill, fixing the symptoms, and then move on with your day, being tired, being sick, being addicted, being, depressed, miserable, and incapable of doing the things that God wants us to do. We're capable of so much more than that. And I'm hoping that throughout my journey, I can start to show that, be the example of that for you, and encourage you in that. I am going to get packed because, like I said, I'm going on a trip to the south, and I'm trying to pre-film for quite a few days so that I don't have to worry that they won't be getting done. I hope you have a really great day. Take care of yourself and be blessed. Bye-bye.